'Tis many's a gay night from dark till daylight I spend with people of high renown. But in all their grandeur and heaps to squander, my heart would wander for sweet Omagh town.
Hello and a very warm welcome to Sweet Omagh Town Internet Radio, coming from, I couldn't say the heart of Omagh, but as near the heart of Omagh as we can possibly get. And by the magic of the telephone, hopefully we'll be joined by Declan Ford and Tom Sweeney. Declan,
John, are you there?
I am there, yes.
Yes, hello, John.
Hello, Tom, how are you, son?
Hiya, Declan.
How's Tom?
Tom, how's solitary confinement with you, sir? Are you okay?
If we're all here, the Blessed Trinity are here.
Yeah, the man from God knows why.
Well, how you getting on, Tommy? Are you missing the social life at all, or how are you coping with
terrible.
it?
Yeah, it's terrible because for someone like me, I mean, I'll be out on the road 3 or 4 days a week doing children's shows, and then I'd be, as you know yourself, I'd be away touring a lot. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like cabin fever, you know.
Yes, I know.
Sitting here, we're lucky we have a good big space out the back. You know, we have a little summer house out there, so we go out there and pretend we're okay. Pretend all is well up in the summer house, you know.
Well, you know, it is a small price to pay, and
then when you get back down to the house, you feel you've been somewhere. You know?
Yes, I know.
But the odd thing is, with all the time, you know, I've been putting up a song every other day on Facebook, which I don't do normally, but because I try to choose songs that might, you know, give people a bit of a lift in these dark times. So every other day I put up a song, and then I have a little studio here, and I come in here and I record stuff just to kill the time. Yeah. I must have a double album done since this thing started.
But it's a way of coping, and I think this is what Declan and I decided to try and upload some of our interviews and things, because it seemed like my job just came to a complete standstill, and I found myself with nothing to do here. So
I know, but the work that you and Declan did in the past, and collecting and collating all that stuff was absolutely brilliant. I mean, it's a brilliant archive, and I think it should be shared with people.
Yeah. It's a labour of love. I mean, I think it's an honour. It's an honour and a privilege to do. We get into some lovely homes, got to know an awful lot of people, and you know yourself, Tom. It's the best of crack. You know, it really is.
I'm sure it's great. But it's more than crack. It's a whole. I think it's a whole. What you're doing is, I mean, essential social history, and how would people in the future know what we lived through in our lifetimes if people like you didn't do what you do?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, that is true, you know, and as I say, everybody has a story to tell, you know.
That's right.
Yeah. Now, well, thinking when Donald mentioned that the three of us would get together sort of online, it was kind of going back in the depths of the memory. Do you remember, Tom, the Omagh Players?
I remember them very well.
And I seem to recollect, you know, there would be a get-together after a play was put on to celebrate the end of it. I think you and Jimmy would sing at these get-togethers, and I seem to recollect that you would pen a song in which you would reference then the people in the play. Do you remember those days?
I think I did, but I wouldn't. I mean, you still tell me you have those, have you?
Oh no,
because I don't have them. I mean, I wouldn't. Yeah, I remember doing that, but I wouldn't. I mean, I wouldn't have any of them now, you know.
Yeah.
I'll tell you. I mean, stuff that was never released. I mean. I wrote, when they were trying to save the hospital camp. You know, I wrote a song for that, which I used to sing at all the protest meetings. You know,
right.
And but what I do have here, I must give it to you sometime. I'm thinking when the late Stephen McKenna would write a lyric, he would just hand me the bit of paper, and he'd say, "Put a tune to that," you know. So I haven't had a chance, but I'm going to come. I have 3 or 4 songs here which has his own handwriting, you know.
Right.
And one is called "The Ballad of Brook Street," and the other is called "The Ballad of Gortmore Abbey," that Stephen wrote. And he did the Ballad of Gallows Hill. Do you have that recording? You probably do.
I don't know that I have now. Don't think so.
Well, funny, I don't have it either, but somebody has it because they put it up on Facebook, me singing it.
Oh, right,
Yeah.
right, right.
Usually may have it, I think, possibly.
Usually might have it. That's right. He might have it. So I intend to record those couple of songs. I mean, I haven't put tunes to them yet, but I have Stevie's handwritten lyrics here: the Ballad of Garthmore Abbey and the Ballad of Brook Street. So you'll be the first people I'll give them to.
Good man, good man. I remember you doing the parting glass at Stevie's funeral, and I tell you, it was a tough one to listen to now. Yeah.
You know, I've been singing the parting glass at a lot of funerals lately. You know, I'm starting to hire myself out as a third singer, you know.
I know.
A professional keener, you know. Oh, good. When did you write your first song? Can you remember that?
I probably wrote the first song in school, you know. About the teachers, probably.
You and I were at Omagh College together, Tom. Do you remember that? No.
Where?
At the technical college for a year.
I went for about 6 months.
Well, I was in the same class as you there.
Because we didn't, as I remember, I never did too much.
No, well, I was along with you, so maybe two of us, all right.
I do remember going to that place, but I mean, it's a kind of a blur. Because,
same as.
I don't recall ever actually learning very much or being interested very much in what they were teaching. I think we were doing a course called commerce. We were doing typing and
learning
shorthand.
Aye, exactly.
Stuff like that. Which I should have learned, but I hadn't the interest. But if I had the interest, I could have been a reporter.
Yes. Tell me, then you ended up in McGrade's selling records. I remember then shortly after you left school. Is that right?
That's right. Well, I think I was still at school, and Mickey McGrade decided he'd open a record shop above his chemist shop in John Street. And then he asked me if I would come in and just sell the records. I think I had just come back from America and I had no job. I think, we'd been out singing in America for the summer or something. Right. I think that's what happened. And then we came back and I think I worked there for a while. And then I think then I might have got a job in the library. I worked in the library for a couple of years. But I realised that it was a kind of a futile job. After a year and a half in the library, one day I was in the branch library in Omagh. You had to do a certain amount of time at the headquarters and a certain amount of time to different branches. So I was the Omagh branch room. I spent there. And anyway, I'd been there about a month. And whatever work it was, I was humming and whistling to myself. And the head librarian, the wee woman who you probably all know, but I won't mention her name,
right,
said to me, "Young man, you will have to stop whistling and humming." Why is that? Because if you don't, I'll have to ask you to leave. And I said, "But I work here." And she goes, "You do?" I figured there and then.
Career over.
Not, you know, she thought I was a member of the public. So and then I think, yeah, and then I went to work as a librarian. After that training, I became a librarian in St. Patrick's School, as it was then. And my brother Jimmy taught at St. Patrick's School. And when we were both, he was at college and I was at school, we both went off to America. Our uncle got us a job singing in these series of nightclubs around Massachusetts. But it only lasted till September. And then we came back. And then we didn't know what to do then altogether. So we got these jobs. Jimmy got a job teaching. I got a job at the school. And after about 6 months doing this, Jimmy said to me one day, "You know, I'm thinking of leaving teaching." And he said, "Why don't you leave being a librarian too?" And I said, what'll we do? He said, "We'll sing." And I said, "Sing?" So we both went up anyway, and we told the principal that we were leaving. I think he couldn't believe it, you know. He said, "You're leaving?" It was something I said. We said, "No." And we're walking down Orchard Terrace, and Jimmy says to me, You tell me, Mother, not me." I said, "No, you tell me, Mother." and then we tossed a coin. So he lost anyway. He in another house, and he goes, "Ma, I've something to tell you. Me and him." I said to your poem, "Me and her, Declan." He says, "Me and him have just left our jobs." My ma, you know, in those days, those were a pensionable job, you know.
I know.
So she sat down and she said, "So you've left your jobs, eh? And what are you going to do now?" And Jimmy says, "We're going to sing." And Mother says, who the hell ever told you she could sing?
Oh,
and then we phoned our uncle Tommy in the States, and he got us a couple of more jobs, and we haven't worked since. and that's the truth.
And at that stage, then, did you locate in the States, or did you go back and forward? Or what?
We went back and forth for a good while, you know, and then Jimmy, I was playing in a sort of a Celtic rock band called Chaff. They were from Derry. Roy Arbuckle and Joe McDermott and John Trotter and John Doherty. We were a good old band, but we used to play White Loud, and we used to do a lot of university gigs, you know, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And we're doing quite well. And then my brother Jimmy, he was in a band called Barley Bree from Donegal and Derry, people and that. And then they had been touring Canada, and they asked me if I would join the Barley Bree, which I did. And we went out on this, I think it was a 6-week tour of Canada for an agent called Elaine Mackay from Ottawa, and she put us in all these different venues. But the last venue of the tour was a nightclub in Halifax, Nova Scotia called the Black Knight. We didn't know this. It was owned by 4 brothers from Sparta in Greece, but they loved Irish music, and it was a very famous place for Irish music, and the guys were from Sparta, you know. So we did a stint there, and there were 4 brothers called the Panopoulos, or the Panopoulos brothers. And they said, look, we like the band, and if you will play as a house band here for 12 months, as a regular house band, we will get you your Canadian immigration papers, because we had applied to emigrate, but on those days it was a points system, and the number of points for musicians was none. so the boys, whatever sort of clout they had, said that if we agreed to play as a house band, that they would work the oracle. And they must have, because we came back home and about a month later the phone rang. And in those days, the Canadian government had a full-time consul in Belfast, a man called Mr. Poisson from New Brunswick. And he said, I have an application here for this brothers of this company in Nova Scotia offering you a job, a full-time job. So that was it. Off we went, and we went to Canada, and we spent a good nearly 20 years there.
That's right.
So,
and then you travelled all around Canada after the
States as well. We were lucky, you see, when we got into Canada. But the guys were great, you know, the boys from Sparta, and they spoke on the most lovely way of speaking, and they knew all the songs, but they weren't too sure of the titles, you know. And Tom Panopoulos said to me, tonight for me you sing my favourite song. What's that? A long way from here to there to here to there, there to there, here to there. You know?
Couldn't make it up.
Tonight you sing my brother George's favourite song, Fiddler Greens. but they were great, you know. And then we worked there as a house band, and then we got immigration papers. We all became citizens then. But while we were there was a company called CTV, which is the Canadian equivalent of ITV.
Right.
And these guys should come and watch us. A guy called Joe Irving, he came in one night and he goes, he was a TV, he owned a TV company, but he said, you know, we are from the CTV, and we are just looking for a band just like you to run. We run a weekly folk music program on the television every week.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
We thought he was joking. He said, no, he said, meet me tomorrow morning at the CTV headquarters. Down we went. They were absolutely serious, and then we did a 16-part series, and then the following year we did 32 weeks. So it was great. We did 3 years altogether, you know, every week.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And did you have guests on? And
we had people like Roger Whittaker and Noel Harrison, Tommy and Liam, all the folk singers mainly, you know. That was great. And then we did them all in different theatres around the countryside. We do a live shoot and all filmed in theatres, you know.
Right.
Throughout Canada. And then because that went across Canada, we became kind of half well known. And then we'd go out on tour, out to, you know,
yes,
up to Ontario and Quebec, and out further to the Prairie provinces, and on out to British Columbia, you know, Alaska, you know. Because Alaska is so close to British Columbia, you know, basically we used to do a tour. We used to do a tour of Alaska for the Arts Council of Alaska, and you would do 3 theatres, Juneau, Anchorage, and Fairbanks. But then, as part of the tour, you would have to go out and do a concert on the reservation for the Inuit.
Oh, right.
So anyway, we went out there, and the guy, the chief buckcat on the reservation was a man called Alistair Gugu.
Uh-huh.
And we arrived. He said, "Oh, I'm so pleased to meet you guys. You know, me and my family watch your show every week, etc., etc." And they said, "Before you go on stage tonight, I want you to, when you sing a special request of my wife, when you sing her favourite song." We said, "Sure. What's the song?" He goes, "And it's No, Nay, Never." We said, "That's great." He said, "You know, she loves that song very much." I said, "That's great." He goes, "Do you know how much she loves it?" I says, "No." He says, "The dog had pups, as you call the pups, no, nay, and never."
Oh, that's lovely.
Goodness sake.
And that was in Alaska.
God. What brought you back home then, Tom, or what events brought you
Well, I
back
just
home?
decided. I was there, and I always decided. I'm not staying here for good. I loved the time I was there. But when the eldest fella came to age for grammar school, I decided that myself and Francis decided then we'll just come back home. But having said that, we still went out there back and forward for at least half the year, still travelling back and forward, you know. And we still go out there quite a bit in the summertime. You know? Well, not so much now, but we did in the past. We go out there nearly all summer, you know, and travel around, doing the festivals and having a great time. But I think the festivals now with this virus will be put on hold for quite
Everything's
some time.
going to be on hold, man.
Tell me this, though. How's it affecting yourself? Are you not looking at it? Obviously, you're home now all the time because of the virus, are you?
Yes, I'm confined to home because I had underlying health issues as well, so I'm sort of pretty much in quarantine out here, so I'll not be going anywhere. But entertainment-wise, no, it's all off, Tom. Nothing's even on the book.
I had a diary packed up to the July the 19th or something.
Mm-hmm.
Everything gone.
Same as.
I am now unemployed.
Yeah, and even the folk parks even cancelled, and possibly this whole year it's gone this year. I'd imagine it'll be next year before there's anything back there again. It's going to be a slow time to get things back together, but it is as it is.
It is what it is, and you just have to get on with it. You know. Mm-hmm. I think the worst part, if you can, and a lot of people can't, is to get out of the house. We're lucky, as I say, with a big back space.
Yes.
They will sit in the house and put you insane. You know, cabin fever would set in very quickly.
It would indeed.
Second, how are you doing?
We're doing the best. I was almost permanent gardening leave now. And,
that's great. You've good space in your house.
Well, I'm lucky that I'm out 4 miles out of the town and in the heart of the country. In fact, the only traffic I see are just the tractors going up and down. And peaceful and quiet. And I can look over at the late Owen Smith's cottage.
Right.
Well, we managed a great night.
Indeed, we did. We did. Well, Declan, tell me this here. A lot of people, I imagine, it probably seems great to be off work initially, but everything wears thin after a while. How are you putting on the time?
Well, I am writing little songs and illustrating, and I have now plenty of time in my hands between that and the garden. And avoiding the instructions that the sitting room needs painted and then the kitchen needs painted. So I
wouldn't worry about that too much. I'll put that in my long finger.
I don't mind solitude, to be honest. I'm quite used to my own just pottering about.
You were self-isolating anyway.
Oh, for this 59 years.
He's odd, Tom. He's odd.
But it's time to take stock, and we all, but as you say, cabin people could easily sit in, and we are lucky to be, living in Omagh and outside Omagh.
That's right.
To see a bit of greenery around us and that.
Yeah. But I'll tell you, even looking at New York and all the TV, it's just like a battle zone, Yeah.
Oh, it is incredible.
I'm just looking at the numbers here this morning of the dead in Spain. It doesn't bear thinking about.
No.
I think the part that gets people is the uncertainty of it all and not knowing where it's going or how long it's going to last.
Yes.
I think that's it. That when you listen to the commentators want the exact dates when this is going to peak.
Yeah.
But, nobody can predict. We just have to take each day as it comes.
Well, I'll tell you something. What you guys are doing, putting up your podcast, those things are brilliant. I've just noticed myself. I've just noticed myself there. So many singers all over the world are. Even the big stars are sitting in their living rooms and just,
Seamus said he saw Neil Diamond doing a one-off in a couldn't believe that from his own front room. Yeah, you know. And
that's right. Just sitting singing under their phone and sharing.
Yeah,
that's brilliant, you know.
You know, one touching hands, no touching hands. He sort of changed the words round, you know. So really good. He says really entertaining as well. But this oral history was very nearly not been here. Tom, Declan and I, a couple of years ago, we contacted the Folk and Transport Museum up in Belfast, and they invited us up, and we sort of explained what we had and brought a few samples. They says, "Oh, this is great for us. We'll take this and digitise it and whatever, because this is on, you know yourself, Tom, it's an analogue tape, and it doesn't have a shelf life. And I always say someday I'll get around and I'll get this digitised, but you never really get the time, you know. And the boxes were sealed up and ready to go, put up in my garage. And then when this all broke, I went out and I said, "What am I going to do now?" And I says, "God, have a couple of listens to these things." And I rang Declan and I says, "Declan, we'll put this on the air, just, you know, if we can."
Well, you know what? It is brilliant. Thank
you. It's struck a chord.
Did you ever get all the material digitized? You did?
No, it's not at all. No, it's sitting here. And my house. Do you ever play memory when you were a child with all the cards turned upside down and you try and remember? I have all these boxes. And I'm very disorganized. I never wrote names. I have to take the box out and write and play a bit of it, and then. It started off then.
And what is it done? Is it cassette tape or is it regular tape?
It's everything. You see, it started out in a big 10-inch spool heavy recorder. We carried it around. And then we bought what we call a Ewer, you know, an ordinary portable Ewer that they use there for broadcast. It uses 4-inch tapes. And then when we were out, you see, tapes are very expensive. We slowed the speed down and then used the other half of the tape.
Of course.
Now that Ewer, it died on me. So getting that transferred back, and then we got a big studer here for the studio. It's dead. And I can play it on the Revox, but it's the quality's not as good. It's all needs to be all done. And then we got into DAT and then mini disc. And now we're down. Now we're just doing a portable computer.
Well, come here. I mean, did the fact that it sat in the garage, was anything lost?
Nothing's lost. No, it's good. It's all there. No, it's there. I know it's very dry. I have a good dry garage.
That's class altogether. No, but no. I mean, the archive that you guys created, I think it's brilliant.
Thank you.
It's like a sort of an audio version of Haldane Mitchell's book, you know, in a sense.
Yeah, it is, and it is. And it's we, as you know, we went into people's houses with no agenda. We don't take any notes, because I think people get very afraid when you produce a sheet of paper, you know, and especially when you produce a sheet of paper and a microphone, people sit back into the corner. So Declan and I have a very casual approach. We don't have any agenda. When we're in, I'll give them sort of wee pointers or notes and things, but we nod like two wee, the wee dogs in the back window of the car. You used to get.
And we nod ahead
and let them talk away, just and try and get their stories. You know.
No, when people see a boy with a pencil and a bit of paper and a pen and a microphone, they think he's in the door or something.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
I get the DLA, you know.
Well, tell me, how did you get in?
That's once we interviewed Miss Crammond, who lived out the Cribena.
Oh, she
can't be the teacher, I think.
No, but my wife was reared. My wife knew her very well.
Yeah.
My wife was reared beside her.
Well, we did an interview with her, but we started off with one question, and then the hand went up. She had written a script out. She just read the script, didn't want any questions at all. But she was a fascinating woman.
Well, out there, that whole place there was owned by the Hammond Smiths.
Yes.
Right.
And he had been commander-in-chief, I think, of the Enniskillens.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And they had come. I mean, my wife's father was the gardener on the estate.
Goodness sake.
Right.
That's what he did. And then, you know, I mean, it was really tug on the forelock on those days, you know. They had to call her Madam.
Yes.
Madam.
And she was Mrs. Hammond Smith. And then I think she had a sister called Barbary Buchanan, used to come over from Montreal in Canada.
Yes.
And I may be wrong, but I think she might have been some sort of an heir to Buchanan whiskey or something. But anyway, it was sort of the last days of the old aristocracy, and really, you know.
Yes.
And Mrs. Hammond, Mrs. Crammond, she would have remembered all that.
Yes.
Right. She remembered the day the First World War ended, and she described the biplane flying over. It came out from Shergrim, dropping down leaflets to say that the First World War had ended, you know. And she talked about the upper 10.
She did, Declan.
Who were the 10 families that owned
90% of what was the property in Omagh, and you know, she named the names of that. She says that's the way it was, and she says the ultimate status.
Probably that whole. Go ahead.
The ultimate status symbol. Sorry, was that if you had a coach, a horse-drawn coach, and you had curtains in the back. Then you you knew not to look in, that this was she called the upper 10.
Yeah.
The upper 10. She says as part of that elite in Omagh or whatever. Anywhere was the same those days, I suppose. But strange to have that recorded by people like that.
It is, surely.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but that whole area out there, it's now owned by the Monaghan family, I think.
Yes,
they live there now.
yes,
But up until they took over there, it was it really was a little piece of the Shires and Omagh, even the names, people like the Darlings, who lived there, the Hammonds.
We interviewed Jared Darling as well. Declan, remember
That's right. He was a maritime barrister, and he was a lovely man.
Very man.
Yes.
You went into the house, and in the porch you had the Shakespeare, The Seven Ages of Man.
I do.
That was imprinted on tiles.
Mosaic
on
tiles.
There were also Zulu shields hanging down in that little area, and elephants' feet.
That is of the empire,
Oh, it was like stepping back. It was stepping back. It was
That's right. And then, Frances would tell me that she would remember as a wee girl the different dinners being held out there, and you like maybe the Barons Court people would come up to it. There'd be all sorts of people arriving. I remember Ginger Joe Macaulay and Billy McLaughlin, those guys. They'd go out there. They were old skins,
Yes.
And they'd go out and they'd be the waiters for these great dinners out in Edenfell.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember the boys telling me that they'd be waiting on tables and so forth for the dukes and the lords about Edenfell.
And Jared Darling talked about the social life, and it was really entwined in amongst those families. That it was a very tight knit group.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And they also, the Hammonds, I think the Hammonds, they also owned an island. They owned this island off the coast of Donegal. Now, my wife might know, but they would go off there for a week or two in the summer,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Jolly hockey sticks off to the island,
Yes.
And they also own, I think, a lot of property around Ballyshannon,
Right.
The Hammond Smith. But I'll tell you, Ian Mitchell, in one of his books, did a brilliant, absolutely brilliant treatise on the whole Edenfell sort of community out there. It's a brilliant piece.
Right. Oh, it's amazing, and I'd say it's another world. A world that has, I think, changed.
I was reading the Gallows Hill. It was quite another world of boys. If you saw a cat,
that was your estate, Tom.
I have my estate. If you saw a cat with a tail, you knew he was a tourist.
Oh, very good.
Anyway,
but even that was a magical place. I've written about it, about row upon row.
Yes,
it really was. We actually thought that the Gallows Hill was Omagh,
Uh-huh.
And our playground was John Street and High Street and Market Street. That's where we played,
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
So and then we began to learn about the Derry Road and all these places,
right?
Which to us were as far removed as fucking Swaziland,
Well, are you past people of Mother Oliver's, Tom? No.
What is it?
Are you past people of Mother Oliver's? Did you go to Mother Oliver?
No,
no.
Not, but I was there at the same time.
Yes.
You either went to Mother Oliver or a woman called Miss O'Reilly. I went to Miss O'Reilly. But I used to hear Mother Oliver's band playing next door.
Yeah. I was Mother
Oliver. It was a kind of a percussion band, music, every good beat things,
Yeah. Miss Turney was next door from memory, was it? Mrs. Turney was.
Miss Turney, she would have put manners in you.
Oh, she was sharp, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think she was from Killybegs originally.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Well, she was a brilliant woman. I think her maiden name was Heaney.
Right.
She was a brilliant verse speaker herself, and her memory was prodigious.
Yes.
Used to be an old actress. She wasn't old then. Mm-hmm. And the other played when I was a young fellow called Kathleen Gibbon. Now, she was a brilliant actress, but I thought Kathleen was old. And then one day I met Mrs. Torrance, she goes, "Oh, I saw Kathleen Gibbon in the play last night. Very good at school, like needlework, mathematics, very bad at English." I thought, how old are you? But she remembered everything with every pupil, Mrs. Turney.
Right. I remember when Stevie put on Louis Lynch's play Heritage.
Aye.
And Nora Turney had been in the original production.
Indeed she had.
And I remember her sitting in the audience watching it.
Aye.
You know, she was a very, very elderly lady then, and her eyesight may have...
And her hearing, I think,
Hearing,
then.
yes, hearing issues, I had to remember that, yeah.
But see, her memory was absolutely prodigious. So she would have taught to me a lot of, but she remembered. I mean, nearly every girl she taught, she remembered them.
Right.
What they were good at, what they were bad at, what they looked like. It was just unbelievable. Yeah. But going to school was grand for us. We would just walk down to the brothers. Well, you walk up Church Hill, you were at the school, you know.
Great, I know.
Oh dear. Oh no.
And the town, that whole area, the Gallows Hill was I mean, it was an amazing place. It was full of people full of men who'd been in the army, you know.
Yes.
Old sweats but boys who had, you know, who'd been to Egypt and Africa and the Trans-Siberian Railway and all these places, you know. And you'd hear them talking to Francis O'Neill's corner, drunk, you know. Did you ever see the Taj Mahal by moonlight, Joe? I did. I saw the pyramids by moonlight, you know.
Yeah, a lot of railway
people. Mickey Morgan, and all these wee men who had fought in the war, but they were brilliant, you know.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
And I think as well, you know, that what makes Omagh the town it is a whole lot of influence. But I think the army was a huge influence here.
Mm-hmm.
Must be, yeah.
A lot of men who had served in the army, because the skins were based, they would have, when they left the army, just settled and stayed here, you know.
Married locally, yeah.
And not just Englishmen, but I mean men from Belfast and, you know, wherever, Donegal, just. And secondly was the railway. I mean, the reason my family came was the railway. My father's father was an engine driver. So I think two of the big influences on Omagh were the military and the railway.
Railway, yeah. And I mean, like yourself, my people came up from Monaghan.
Aye, for the railway as well.
The Moore and Fintona to work on the GNR.
GNR is correct.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But Don, were your people native to Omagh?
Yes, I will. We can date it right back here for maybe 300 years here, yeah, Tom. So I mean, and about we're one of the locals here. I could say that with some certainty, all right. But to get back to Omagh, Tom, I think you're right. Omagh to me is a town that welcomes strangers, and you know you don't get that. A lot of towns it can get very parochial, but almost a town where you can walk into town and I see this often down in the American Folk Park, whereby the tourists, when they get talking to them, they say it's just the most friendliest town to be around, that people here will talk to you. And I have a friend who came over from London, and she said she was standing at the bus depot, and a stranger started to speak to her. She says, if that happened in London, you'd step to the other side of the road or get offside. But she had a good conversation with somebody she never knew or never going to see again. Yeah. And that's typical. That's I think we're losing that to some extent, and it's good to have that in the town, I think.
Well, I think the rule of thumb seems to be, when I talk to people who live here who are not from here, I remember the late Pat Timmins telling me, Pat lived here for quite a while, he said, you know, when you first come to Omagh, he says, nobody really bothers about you. He said they don't be in your face. They just keep their distance. But once you become friendly with Omagh people, it's a friendship that lasts.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I heard that before from people. They say, people will not ever be in your face at the beginning, you know.
No.
But once you start assimilating into the community, you really do feel like you're part of it.
Yes. When you take someone like Artie Bidlin, who enjoyed the fame that he did, wore it very lightly around Omagh town, you could stand and talk to Artie at Super Value or McCann's bar, have a chat with him. There was a man who travelled the world, and world-renowned guitar player. Yet he was one of us.
I always thought Omagh was a very good town, you know.
Yeah.
Omagh was a very fine town.
Oh, I'd agree. And I'm glad that myself and Donald have spent nearly 30 years interviewing people from the area, and
it is brilliant.
Building up that kind of a history. Well, that's kind of an unwritten history. But the ordinary memories that really
absolutely
will teach future generations a lot, you know.
Yes,
it does surely. I think it was Tyrone Guthrie said that if you could tilt High Street up, he could do a great passion play on the courthouse steps.
Well, that's great. The banter you can get in this town. I mean, the more people like you, the more they give you sticks sometimes as well. You know, I think it's great.
That's all part of it.
Well, Tom, tell me how you get into performing for children. Where did that all come about, or how did you get?
Well, I'll tell you. When I was a very young fellow myself, I used to listen a lot to children's songs, even when I wasn't a child, even when I was in my teens, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I had a bit of interest. I read a book one time by a man called Peter Opie, all about children's folklore. I became fascinated by it and what makes children tick musically and all, and I began to read an awful lot about it. I've known a lot of children's songs anyway. I mean, just by osmosis. And then I just began to learn more and more. And then one time I realised there was no one doing children's songs really in the schools anymore. See, when I went to school, there's a lot of singing in school, but that seems to all be gone now, you know. They're now all in musicals, but they don't learn any songs. But when I was at school, you would have learned, I mean, even the brothers, you would have learned all the Thomas Moore songs, you would have learned all the songs of 1798, and you would have learned all the maybe songs of Robert Burns or whatever, you know. But that's all changed, and I realised that young children, for example, even today, when I go in now to school, even now, young children, they don't do nursery rhymes.
Right.
I mean, it blew your mind. They do not know nursery rhymes.
No.
So then I began thinking, see, you know, I'm going to go into these schools and start singing some of these songs again. And I recorded an album in Connecticut, and a studio. I went in over a number of days, recorded 20 children's songs. And I got back to Ireland. I sent a copy to every school in Northern Ireland, free copy to every school. Look, hear these old children's songs, you know. I'm going to sing them. If you want me to come into the school and sing them to the children, I'll do it. And that's how it started. It just grew from there.
Yeah.
And I never looked back, you know.
Yeah. And when you think of it, Tom, the only other person that, to my mind, that captured the children's songs was the late Davy Hammond. Do you remember the album Green Peas and Barley?
Oh, I should have it in the house. And he also
the Belfast Street songs.
That's right. He has another album he recorded for a crowd called Caedmon in New York of just Irish children's songs as well, you know. And then Pete Seeger was a great hero of mine, and Pete Seeger did a series of children's records too.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And then
of course, your uncle and the Clancy's, they would have included the children's medleys.
They did one medley at Carnegie Hall, that's right. But they would have known the whole bunch of songs from their childhood, you know. So I just think what I was trying to do was to make it more popular again. I mean, these things were just becoming museum pieces, you know.
Yes,
you know.
And now, I mean, I'm not in any way praising myself, but the children are brilliant. But even now, I would get phone calls and letters and people phoning me in their 30s, 35, saying, you know, you sang to me in primary school. I love the songs. I still remember them all, you know. And they do.
Great,
well, my grandson in Glasgow, and when Rachel is out in the car and she tries to put on the radio, this 1.5-year-old finger wags, no, Tom.
So
Tom Sweeney is blaring through the streets of Glasgow every time they're out in the car. He just absolutely loves it.
There's one will tell you a good story about. I was playing. I think it was the Ulster Museum earlier this year, and this woman was trying to take photos of me on her phone. You see. But whatever happened, all she got was my feet, my boots. Anyway, so she was back home, and she was playing this recording in the house, and the wee baby kept watching it. And now all the baby goes, "Isn't what I'm called?" She goes, "Put on shoes." She called me shoes. So I do traditional ones. I mean, I write some myself, but I do mainly ones that are traditional, or, you know, I mean, I'm always searching for new children's songs as well. I mean, there are people still writing lovely songs. I was trying to find a song to write a song myself about sort of the birds and the bees and so forth, the wee one, but I couldn't find it. And I did find one that somebody else had written. It goes, "There's two kinds of seagulls, he-gulls and she-gulls. He-gulls like she-gulls, and that's why they're seagulls." Good. And the second verse goes, "There's two kinds of wombats, dad-bats and mom-bats. Dad-bats dig mom-bats, and that's why there's wombats." Isn't that brilliant?
Good.
There are two kinds of lizards, hurzards and hizzards. Hurzards think hizzards are wizards, and that's why there's lizards. Isn't that brilliant?
That's lovely.
Then the chorus goes, "Most creatures come in pairs, that's the way they mingle. One kind only would be lonely, so it takes two to tingle." I thought it was brilliant.
Oh, great.
But those songs, but when I sing them in the schools, they really stick with people. I mean, I had a call earlier on this year from the young fella from Derry. He was 29. He said, "My name is Paul," his last name, "and I'm living in Belfast. Would you come and sing at my wedding?" I thought, I don't do weddings, you know. He said, no. He says, myself and my fiance, when we were children at school, we were both big fans of yours. Huh? And what do you want me to do? He said, I want you to come to the wedding and sing Skin 'em a Rinky Dinky Dink.
Crazy.
You know,
but
it's amazing.
Great endorsement, isn't it?
That would be a first.
It would be a first. And then I had a call from this fella. He was the president of the Queen's Union. This was about 2 years ago.
Uh-huh.
He said, would you come and do a concert here at Queen's? Is that what you mean? Folk songs and ballads? No. He says, children's songs. I says, who for? He says, for the students. I said, wait a minute. These songs are for 5 to 10-year-olds.
Uh-huh.
No, he says, like myself, they all remember you when they were primary. He said, the whole North. And he says, if I put it up with you and do that thing, it would be absolutely mobbed. And he says, can you imagine them all with 2 drinks in them?
I wish I was there to see that, Tom, really would.
Singing all those songs. I mean, I haven't the courage to do it.
Oh,
I will do it yet.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me, how did you finish up singing for Clinton in the White House, Tommy?
That was a very strange thing, you know. I had written this peace song. About just children growing up together in Northern Ireland, both Protestant and Catholic, and having, hoping they both have a better view of each other. So I wrote this song called Anthem for the Children. And at the time, I was recording for a company called Shanachie Records, and they were based in New York. So anyway, it was just before the Good Friday Agreement was signed, and Bill Clinton and his wife Hillary they used to go to a lot of fundraisers among the Irish communities, and there was some big fundraiser in New York, and they were just playing this song in the background, I guess. But I think she heard it, and she goes, listen to the words of that song. And I think maybe the following 6 weeks later, they were having all the people out for the Good Friday peace talks, the final talks. And she said, find out who that guy is, and then the FBI phone. I thought it would have put me in jail or someone, There's the FBI. I said, what do you want me for? You write a peace song? I said, is that a crime? Wait a minute, he says, the president wants you to come and sing it at the White House. I thought it was a joke, Because we used to play a place in Port Rush called the White House. and so we did. Yeah. But it wasn't. It was actually real. And then it was brilliant. We went out and we sang the song, myself and a man called Frank McCourt, who wrote Angela's Isis.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
We were the entertainment that night. And then they signed the good... But everyone was there. Everyone you could think of from Northern Ireland, the Republic, and everywhere. They were all there. And I sang the song anyway. And funny, I like to think it added something to the agreement,
Yeah. It's a lovely song.
Well, it's certainly. I still sing it, It's called Anthem for the Children.
Yeah.
You might give it a rattle in your podcast.
We will indeed, Tom.
It's just a great song, great words and great sentiment.
It seemed to be well received,
Yeah.
Declan, what about your new book?
The new book is, I have finished numbering them, 1,000 of them. And I'm waiting now on the CD to come back, waiting on the Glassmaster, and then they will be ready. The Declan Fools Christmas cards.
Well, for all the listeners, it's a brilliant book. Declan gave me the advance copy. It's beautifully done. The poems are brilliant. But it's more than that. It's the whole presentation of the quality of paper. The quality of the illustrations are brilliant. Mick Maloney's introduction. It's going to be a fantastic piece of art, both audio and visual art too. So I recommend when it does come out, everyone go and buys it. But then, what's the actual name of it again? Tell them.
It's called Declan Ford's Christmas Cards because I've been doing Christmas cards, my own Christmas cards every year this past 2 years. Myself and Paddy Grugan, the late Paddy Grugan from Carrickmore, got into a kind of a competitive spirit each year. And I remember to see who would finish the card first. I remember one July, Paddy rang me and says, I finished it.
In July?
Yeah, in July. It was just to be first. So I'm delighted that Graham's, the printers, did a wonderful job. I'm very
they did. It's beautifully done. It's just a credit to everyone. Yeah, congratulations. Come here now with all this hassle of the coronavirus. What would you do? Will you put it in the back burner, Declan? Or?
Oh, it'll be until the autumn time. I'll feed out wee bits and pieces in the press and that about it. But as I say, the big launch will be in
maybe in the autumn time. Maybe in time for Christmas.
Oh, well, that's it. It'll be aiming at the Christmas market, and there's only 1,000 being printed, all individually numbered and stamped.
Aye.
And
well, I mean, as someone who lived abroad for myself and travelled abroad a lot, I mean, it means so much, something like that, you know. I mean, if people bought a copy of your book and sent it out to their families abroad, you know, I mean, it's a great thing to do, you know.
Well, and also the recordings came out very, very well.
Oh, Donald very good, yeah.
He and Jonathan have produced that side of it, and they've done an absolutely brilliant job. So I'm delighted with it, you know. Just about the coronavirus has got in the way, but we'll get over that.
Temporary setback, yeah.
Temporary setback is right.
Tom, thanks for your time, Tom. Appreciate the chat.
It's been an absolute pleasure, gentlemen. I'm sorry we can't meet like we normally do, just in each other's company, but this is what you're up against.
Yeah, well,
that's it.
If we want to this out, we'll get through it, you know. So, Tom, thanks again. Take care of yourself, and we'll keep safe.
So we'll
talk
take care of yourself. Okay. And Declan, look care of yourself.
Keep safe, and we shall meet again. Don't know where, don't know when.
It was song that.
Sounds like Maryland. Okay. Tom, thanks very much.
God bless, gentlemen.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Near to Banbridge town in the county Down on a morning in July, down a Boreen Green came a sweet Colleen, and she smiled as she passed me by. Well, she looked so neat from her 2 bare feet to the sheen of her nut brown hair. Such a coaxing elf, I'd to shake myself to make sure I was really there. From Bantry Bay up to Derry Quay, and from Galway to Dublin town, no maid I've seen like the fair Colleen that I met in the county Down. As she onward sped, well, I shook me head, and I said with a feeling rare, I said, says I, to a passer-by, who's the girl with the nut-brown hair? Well, he smiled at me, and he said, says he, that's the gem of Ireland's crown. Young Rosie McCann from the banks of the Bann, she's the star of the county Down. From Bantry Bay up to Derry Quay, and from Galway to Dublin town, no maid I've seen like the fair Colleen that I met in the county Down. At the harvest fair she'll be surely there, so I'll dress in me Sunday clothes, with me shoes shone bright and me hat cocked right, for a smile from the nut-brown rose. No pipe I'll smoke, no horse I'll yoke, till be ploughed with the rust turns brown, and a smiling bride by my own fireside, says the star of the county Down. From Bantry Bay up to Derry Quay, and from Galway to Dublin town, no maid I've seen like the fair Colleen that I met in the county Down. From Bantry Bay up to Derry Quay, and from Galway to Dublin town, no maid I've seen like the fair Colleen that I met in the county Down. If I was king of Ireland and all things at my will, I'd roam through all creation, new comforts to find still. And the comfort I would seek the most, as you all might understand, is to win the heart of Martha, the flower of sweet Strabane. Her cheeks, they are a rosy red, her eyes a lovely brown, and over her lily white shoulder her golden hair hangs down. She's one of the finest creatures in the whole of Ireland, and my heart was captivated by the flower of sweet Strabane. And I wish I had you, Martha, away down by Inishowen, or in some lonesome valley in the wild woods of Tyrone. I would do my best endeavour, and I try to work a plan for to win the prize and feast my eyes on the flower of sweet Strabane. Now I'll go over the Lagan down by the steamships tall. I'm sailing to America, whatever might befall. I am sailing down by Liverpool, close by the Isle of Man, and I'll dream of lovely Martha, the flower of sweet Strabane. But since I cannot win her love, no joy there is for me. I'm going to seek forgetfulness in a land across the sea. As down Loch Foyle the waters boil and my ship steers out from the land, I will say, God bless you, Martha, the flower of sweet Strabane. Young Molly was handsome and pretty. I dressed and put on me new coat, then off to the mainland to court her, myself and me small rowing boat. Come up the stairs, come up the stairs, Molly, oh, come up the stairs, bring something to warm me our bones. Well, we hadn't been sailing for furlongs, no more than 10 minutes afloat, till the big wave came up and capsized me, myself and me small rowing boat. Come up the stairs, come up the stairs, Molly, oh, come up the stairs, bring something to warm me our bones. Then up came a great big sea serpent, he was 40 long feet now or more. He took one look at my sad complexion, and he offered to take me ashore. Come up the stairs, come up the stairs, Molly, oh, come up the stairs, bring something to warm me our bones. And where are you going in such weather? I'm going courting, Molly, says I, for there's no young girls left on the island, and how's a young man to get by? Come up the stairs, come up the stairs, Molly, oh, come up the stairs, bring something to warm me our bones. Why don't you and Molly get married, and then yous can both stay at home? For it's better to suffer in marriage than catching your death of the cold. Come up the stairs, come up the stairs, Molly, oh, come up the stairs, bring something to warm me our bones. Tonight I will ask her to marry, I'm hoping that she will agree, for I'd rather be poor and be married than risking me life on the sea. Come up the stairs, come up the stairs, Molly, oh, come up the stairs, bring something to warm me our bones. Come up the stairs, come up the stairs, Molly, oh, come up the stairs, bring something to warm me our bones.